Good evening and welcome to Build Your Best Life. I'm Coach Deborah and I am super excited to have you here with us today. And my special guest, Wesley Wood, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank everyone for always tuning in. We thank you for your likes, comments, and shares. Please make sure that you share, and comment. So we appreciate everything that you do to help us here at Build Your Best Life. Well, I'm excited to get started today. But first and foremost, we want everyone to get an opportunity to meet Wesley. So could you please tell us all about yourself and what you love to do?
Yes, ma'am. So about me, tonight we're going to be talking about overcoming mistakes and lessons that we can learn from that and grow and how we can guide others from the lessons that we've learned and the mistakes that we've made. And so about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I made one of the biggest mistake, if not the biggest mistake of my life. And it wasn't the one decision that I made that put me in prison. I had been to prison. It was many bad decisions along the way that took me down that path that sent me to prison, and I served 8 years and 2 months in prison for that decision, that choice that I made. And so that's where the Lord really handled me while I was there, and He worked in me, and He took me and pulled me out of that mess. And I've been growing in my faith and in my relationship with the Lord since then. And He has brought me to doing things that I had never thought that I would do. All I wanted to do was serve. He has me guest preaching. He's opened many opportunities over the last year and a half to do that. I've been leading Bible studies. And so, I'm doing these things that this new person that I am. I learned a lot. When I was in prison, looking back, you have a lot of time to look back on your life and see the things that you've done, things that you didn't realize maybe at the time was just horrible decisions, and the consequences in the road it was going to take you down. And so as you kind of revisit those things and you reflect, that's the opportunity then to correct those things, put together a game plan. Okay, here's how I'm going to live my life now to keep from going back to where I was. And so that's me really in a nutshell.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good. I love it. That's one of the things I always say. You can overcome those obstacles that come in your life and do better. But yeah, I'm excited about our topic. And I like to say, as you travel on your road to being a better you, there will be pit stops, rough terrain, and detours. Don't let any of those negative aspects of your journey stop you. Though they may slow you down, keep going to be a better you. So we know everyone makes mistakes, but it's what you do with those mistakes that is critical. So it seems like you have taken yours and turned your life around, and that's amazing. So today, everyone, our topic is lessons for others, because, we don't go through the things that we go through for nothing. There's always God, God doesn't make mistakes. There's always a reason in everything He does. So, Leslie, what is your most significant takeaway from your past mistakes?
Take responsibility. Own up to what you do. Once you can be honest with yourself and own up to your mistakes, you can be honest with the Lord. You can be honest with others. You can have forgiveness for yourself, because you're going to have to forgive yourself. You can't have that guilt and that shame hanging around because it's going to hold you back from moving forward and growing. And so when you take responsibility and you own up and you realize that, that's when you can forgive yourself. And the forgiveness is going to lift that guilt and shame. And then it allow you also to seek forgiveness from others, to have that hard conversation, to admit that you are wrong, and own up to it, to that person or that you may have wronged. And then also too, again, that will allow you also to be honest with the Lord and be genuine with the Lord, when to take it to Him, and work that out with the Lord. But you can't do any of that until you are genuine and true and taking accountability and responsibility for that.
That's good. A lot of times when people make mistakes or whatever it is, they like to blame someone else. Well, see, what had happened was this person did this, or my mama did that,
Exactly.
a situation where I live. So they always want to blame someone else. So,
right.
I like that, take responsibility. Well, when individuals go down a path of making mistake after mistake, or making a mistake that they don't rebound from, is there an underlying root cause, do you think? They just don't seem to be able to get away from it.
I do. I do. It's a failure to to maybe recognize their failures and shortcomings. We have to be able to recognize our shortcomings and failures, and so that could be pride that prevents us from doing that, and maybe just ignorance, and that's where an accountability partner comes in that can open your eyes to that. You got to have accountability partners is important to have someone that can open your eyes to certain things that you can't see.
Yes, excuse me, that's good. I hadn't thought about accountability partner. Now, did you have an accountability partner, someone that walked with you, or?
Yes, I have. I rely and lean heavily on my church family. My pastor from my previous church, my pastor now at this church. So there are different men and women in the faith, godly men and women that I can reach out to when I want to discuss something, when I want to talk about, a potential decision to be made, and get their ideas and kind of see how they can, how they see the effects of it. What road is this going to take me down, and just really kind of talk that out.
That's good. All right. Good evening, Dan and Shonda. Thank you for tuning in. We're talking about lessons for others. So in Psalm 37:24, it says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Though he falls, he will not be destroyed, for the Lord will be there to pick him up." And everyone stumbles, but again, we don't have to stay down. We can get back up. Why do you think it is so hard to ask for help? People are struggling and they realize, I'm going down this path and, I try to straighten up, but I can't. But then they still are very reluctant to ask for help. Why do you think that is?
I think it's pride. I think part of that is pride. I think part of that is the guilt and the shame to admit to someone else that we've messed up, that we have made this particular bad decision, and now this is where I am. It could be embarrassing. It's embarrassing to admit to someone else that you were, that you had made this kind of decision, because you maybe you see yourself as better than that. And other people may see you better than that, and you present yourself in that way, and you just messed up, and maybe you are that, what we call that good person, right? You have a good character, but like you said earlier, we all mess up, and so in that sense, there's that guilt and shame, and maybe that pride, and that, okay, if I reach out, I got to admit, that I did this, and this is where I am, and so there's that, and because you think like that, now you feel like, okay, I've got to deal with this on my own, which will keep you down when you do that.
Yeah. But but do you find that there are many people who are willing to help? I know you said you relied on your previous and your current church families, but in your path and watching others, do you see that there are a lot of people that are willing to step up and help?
Most definitely. Family, friends, church family. But the thing is, you got to ask, right? I mean, if you don't ask, you don't receive.
Right.
So, you have a support group, and you have to make sure you have a strong support group. But if they don't know what's going on, they can't help you out. They can't read your mind. So you've got to ask. So you have to be proactive in your own fixing of the mess, right?
Yes. Right. So as you try to help individuals, have you found that they've been struggling with something for a while, and that was one of the things that kept them in that place so long, is that they couldn't shake it themselves and they were reluctant to ask for help?
Yes, I've had that experience. There was a couple men that I was I had an opportunity to work with in the past, they didn't. So it was brought to my attention from my pastor that we had a young man in church who had also been to prison. He had gotten out and he had been struggling. And so, I made that attempt to go to him. And then when I did that, he opened up a little bit, but he still was hesitant at times. And so it was, at times it was kind of, it was difficult. It was difficult because I wanted to help, but I needed to know what was going on. And at times I didn't know. And there was at least one instance I can think of. Well, he waited to the last minute, and I get a phone call. It was an urgent situation. And, I'm sitting there asking, well, why didn't you bring this up before? Why now, now that it's become, this emergency. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've had that experience. Okay.
Yeah. I often wonder, I know that there are people that are willing to help, but there are so many people that are struggling. So I was just wondering, because like you say, if you don't know what's going on, you can't help, no matter how much you're willing to do it. So that's good to know.
And I say this too, you hold them accountable, you try to guide them along the way, make suggestions, and you can do that. But if they don't buy into it, that's another issue as well.
Okay. That's good. All right. So can you please tell our young men and others how that they can overcome mistakes, shift their attitudes, and establish a growth mindset as they're trying to overcome their situations and get better?
Yes. Again, going back to taking responsibility and holding yourself accountable. That's really that's huge. That's huge in doing that. So, because with every mistake or bad decision, there's going to be consequences. Mm-hmm. And the way to handle that is not to run from it. It's not to, like you said earlier, place blame elsewhere. It's owning up, you owning up to it, taking responsibility, holding yourself accountable, and confessing in the sense that whoever that person was wronged, right? You confess that to them. Hey, I know. Basically, you're saying, I know I was wrong. This is what I did, and seeking that forgiveness. When we're talking about seeking that forgiveness, that forgiveness will then also lend to a reconciliation process, and that reconciliation process could be just restoring the relationship. And it could just be, you're agreeing to disagree, and there could still be a relationship there. You don't have to agree on everything together. You don't have to agree on all topics. Just agree to disagree, and then you understand. You have to understand each other's boundaries. Understanding each other's boundaries then helps you recognize or understand that, okay, hey, I can't cross this line. I can't cross this boundary with them because I'm going to offend them. And so that's also, you have to learn each other's boundaries. And then there's, when you make these mistakes, especially if you wrong someone, we talk about restitution. And when we think of restitution, we think of money. It's a financial thing. And sometimes it is. But restitution can also be making amends. You're making that attempt to amend the relationship. You are giving back or making right to those you have wronged. And going back to the first 5 things I talked about, all those things are part of that restitution process.
Okay. So you said taking responsibility, holding yourself accountable, understanding boundaries, and seek forgiveness. And tell me a little bit more about the boundaries.
Yeah. So, determining, there's certain things that can be said that someone may be offended by, and you think that is innocent. Um, there's a certain way that that you can act. That there's a way you can act around someone that may offend them that you might see okay. So if you're a jokester, right? Some people aren't big on jokes, or playing around, what we call playing around with each other, right? And
Right.
so um, you have to know that. You have to know that about the other person, or how far you can take it, that where you don't cross that line. Your respect for each other. That mutual respect has to be there's a boundary there, that there's always mutual respect, not to disrespect each other, and how you speak with each other, how you talk to each other. Again, going back to, sometimes we mess around with each other, and we say things that may be inappropriate or may offend the other person that you don't think much about. But there's that boundary there also of that communication.
Okay. Well, I love this. So, if you had only one, I guess, lesson that you would tell someone and to really, really help them, that would give them the greatest help, what would that lesson be?
Um, I know I've mentioned this a few times. I'm going to go back to just own up to it and be honest.
Hmm.
That's it. Don't try to run from it. Don't try to don't try to make up excuses. Don't try to justify it in any other way. Just face it straight on. Own up to it and be honest.
All right, that's good. Being
Integrity.
honest. What'd you start to say?
Integrity. You got to have
Integrity.
integrity.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah.
The thing is, too, people, even though you've messed up and you approach it in that way, you have the integrity, you own up to it, and you're just upfront and honest, and you face it head on that way, people will respect you for that. You will have respect. If you try to place blame elsewhere or justify it with other excuses, uh, they will have there will be no respect. They won't have respect for you. So they're going to look at what you did, and then they're going to look at you as, okay, well, now he's trying to justify this. He's trying to he's trying to blame someone else, and so now you're not owning up to it, and so that lessens their respect for you. I mean, you don't have their respect, but if you own up to it and hit it and face it straight on, even though you messed up, you will gain respect.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And that's so important to get that respect back, because a lot of times when you make errors or mistakes, you lose what credibility you had. And that is something so hard to get back.
It
And
is.
so if you were blaming others and making excuses, it just gonna take that much longer.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, most definitely.
Yes. So thank you so much. This has been helpful. I have learned a lot, and I'm sure our audience has learned. And I'm going to make sure that I put this on the, well, this is going to be on Facebook and YouTube for anyone that wants to go out there. But this is one that I am going to put on the rebroadcast list, because this is some great information and people need to hear what's going to help them.
Amen.
So I'm asking our audience if you could just please, please, please share, because people don't know what they're missing if someone doesn't step up. And it's all a part of helping others, because we can put the information out there, but if we don't share with each other and make sure it's getting in the right hands, then it is, it's not really doing the job that it could do. So I appreciate it if everyone would share, share, share. and tell people, what we are talking about here on Build Your Best Life, because again, we are trying to assist our young men because you train early rather than have to try to fix later. So we're trying to train them as well as show them it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone. I don't know anyone that has never made a mistake. And you can't say they're small or large. A mistake is a mistake. But you can overcome those things if you know what to do, to ask for help, ask the right questions, go to the right place. But you've got to, because to me, it's like you don't know what you don't know. So if we're not putting the information out there, if we're not sharing it, then we're not putting it in the right hands. So please help me to do what I am trying to do to assist our young men. I greatly appreciate it. And Thursday, we'll be here. Let's talk about it. And it's going to be Anastasia Smith and our topic is going to be broken glass. Broken glass. You got to tune in and see what that's all about. So that will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Central Time, Thursday, the 15th. So I appreciate it if you would tune in. But as always, if you miss it, you can check it out on YouTube or Facebook at any time. So I appreciate you so very, very much tuning in today. And Wesley, is there anything else that you want to leave with our audience or anything else that you want to share?
Integrity, responsibility, and accountability. That's what I'll leave with you. I want to thank you for having me. This has been awesome. I love this, and allowing me to bring my own experience in this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, thank everyone for tuning in, because you could have been anywhere else. So we appreciate you sharing with us today. And again, check us out on Thursday. Remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan. It's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. Thank you, Wesley.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.